Thank you for joining us this Thursday evening, and you're among the very first to get our latest issue of Boca Magazine. And we are thrilled to host this event in tandem with our new special section, Ask the Expert. And I'd like to introduce you to the expert in hair transplantation and restoration, or as we like to call her, the Rejuvenation Queen, Dr. Bawa. So Dr. Bawa, yeah, wow, yes. You are no ordinary doctor. Originally from New Delhi, you are an ER doctor and a trained surgeon. Why open your own medical clinic for hair transplantation, restoration, and other cutting-edge treatments for skin, hair, and yes, intimate rejuvenation?
That's a very good question. Thank you for that introduction, by the way. I got into hair because I am one of those women who suffer from hair loss. 40% of women have visible hair loss by the age of 40, and I was one of them. And I chose to do something about it instead of suffering in silence. And when I had my hair transplant, unfortunately, I did not have the best result. So it got me thinking about how there was a better way to do this. And I started training in hair transplantation at that time, and that led to a cascade effect, because once I trained as a hair transplant surgeon, I realized that I could make people's hair wonderful, but then what about the face and neck? Once I learned how to do that and I got trained in laser surgery, I said, okay, what about intimate wellness? So I turned into a rejuvenation specialist quite by accident. And I am delighted that I did this, because now I've completely, phased into this.
Yeah, and that figure of 40% of women, have visible hair loss by the age of 40. I mean, that's astounding. What are you doing to break that stigma, to talk about it?
I have found that women, for some reason, find hair loss very embarrassing. It is something that we don't want to discuss, because men sometimes, they'll lose hair and they're okay with it. They expect it. But they're not always happy about it. but they can live with it, But when it comes to women, it's not supposed to happen to us. So when it happens to us, we do different things. We'll part our hair differently. I mean, there's sprays, there are powders people use. I just don't want to live like that personally, and I don't think anybody else should. And that's when I got into it. I started talking about it, and when I talked about my own hair loss, it freed my friends to admit to their own issues. They started showing me, hey, look, I part my hair like this, but look here, look there, and that got them talking. So it started a conversation that then changed my career path entirely.
Yeah, well, that's really great. And, medical spas have been popping up left and right. What makes Bawa Medical different from the others?
I do everything differently. In fact, my whole focus is rejuvenation. And it's not just a talking point. I genuinely believe in rejuvenation from the inside out. Everything I do here is based on that idea. In fact, even something like hydrofacial, I'm not the only practice in Boca that has a hydrofacial, but I have the best hydrofacial you can find. Hydrofacial is the basic fundamental treatment at my clinic. Everybody gets it. But what I do here is an anti-aging hydrofacial. In fact, we do lymphatic drainage. It's antibacterial. We even do hydrofacial for hair loss.
Right.
I'll bet nobody else has ever heard of that.
Tell us more about that, because
Yes.
I've never heard about it, and I'm sure everybody else here really hasn't.
Yes, we're one of the few practices in the world that can actually do hydrofacial for hair loss. We, do all kinds of treatments. We do hydrofacial. We do vampire scalp treatments. We do, microneedling for the scalp. We do hair transplantation. We do medication. There's a lot we do for hair loss overall.
Well, we clearly can hear the passion that you have for what you do. And, you're not only an ER doctor and a business owner, and also mom to the most two adorable little boys, and they're here tonight.
Yes, they
so
are.
Hopefully you get to see them, because they're adorable.
Thank you.
But how do you juggle it all?
Friends and family, it takes a village. My mom's here. I have friends here. I call on people to help me, and they do. I have been blessed with a great support system. I'm a single mom. Somehow I managed to do it. I don't know how I do it, but
and you look good. And you look good doing it.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for having us in your beautiful space. And we invite everybody for a complimentary 3D skin digital imaging.
Yes.
We've got an amazing raffle. We've got specials for tonight for anybody who actually books an appointment.
Yes.
And you're here, so any questions you have for Dr. Bawa, I'm sure you'd love to hear them.
Yes, and in fact, I'm glad you brought up the skin imaging, because I do digital skin imaging at Bawa Medical and anybody who walks through my door. Because at most practices, you see doctors who do a before and after of your face or your thighs or whatever it is you're there for. I feel so strongly about rejuvenation, and I do so much for you, that I stand by everything I do. I do a before and after of the very inside of your skin, and that way you see the path you travel with my treatments. I feel so strongly about it because I generally make people better from the inside out. Like I said, it's not a talking point. I walk the walk, I just don't talk the talk, and I prove it. So get your digital imaging. Let's see what we can do to help you.
And get your Boca magazine too.
That too.
Read her feature in there. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy.